Thank you for joining us today here as we delve into the world of military research and genealogy. I'm Kate Kisselstein, the junior librarian here at the Local History and Genealogy Department at Onondaga County Public Library Central Library. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Celeste Moore, who is the branch manager for OCPL's Payne Library. In our presentation, Discovering Ancestral Heroes, OCPL's Military Archives and Fold3 Research Guide, will explore how military records are not just a collection of names and dates. They represent the resilience, valor, and sacrifices of our forebears. Today, I'll be taking you through the types of military records, followed by a look at OCPL's military resources, then delve into military records research using Fold3. In part 3, Celeste will guide you in exploring military service through online records by means of a case study of a Central New York veteran, Private Daniel A. Allis. And as always, we'll leave time for questions at the end. So military research is a crucial pillar of genealogy because it provides context to our family narratives. Our ancestors' military experiences, whether on the battlefield or in support roles, shaped their lives and, in turn, ours. It allows us to connect with the past on a personal level, ensuring that the stories of all who played a role in our military heritage are never forgotten. So there are 7 types of military records, main types of military records that I've come across in my research. Those are draft registration cards, service records, pension records, bound Lantee warrants and warrant applications, war diaries, photographs, and military maps. Draft registration cards, also known as just draft cards, were used during times of conscription or draft in the United States. The most well-known instances include World War I and World War II. These cards were filled out by eligible individuals, including detailed information such as name, address, date, and place of birth, occupation, and physical description. Draft cards were organized by the draft board and were an essential part of the selective service system. In their importance for genealogy is that they can help identify individuals who are eligible for military service during specific periods of conscription. They offer insights into the societal and demographic makeup of communities during wartime, contributing to a broader understanding of the era. And the draft card example we see here is actually for my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, Albert Palmer, and he was living with his wife, my grandmother, in Geneva, New York at the time, working for the American Can Company. So while he was eligible by virtue of his age to be drafted, because he worked for American Can in the food service industry, he did not go to war, but he helped in other ways. The next one we have are service records, which provide detailed information about an individual's military service. They typically include enlistment and discharge dates, rank, unit assignments, promotions, and any disciplinary actions. These records are invaluable for tracing an ancestor's military career and understanding their role within the armed forces. Service records offer a chronological account of an ancestor's time in the military, helping genealogists establish timelines and gather key details about their service. The one here is for, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I'll just say my many times great-grandfather, Charles Morgan, who fought in the Revolutionary War. And we'll see some more of this record later. The next we have pension records, which are documents that outline the benefits awarded to veterans or their dependents. They can include information about the veteran's service, injuries sustained during service, and details about family members. Pension records often provide insights into an individual's post-military life. And they offer a wealth of genealogical information, including family relationships, medical details, and financial support provided to veterans or their families. In this case, we have the card of my, let's see if I get this right, great-great-grandfather, Albert J. Palmer, the namesake of my maternal grandfather, who fought in the Civil War. And this shows that not only did he have a pension, but also that his widow, Ida, had applied as well. Then we have the bounty land warrants or applications, which are valuable resources for genealogical research, providing information about individuals who served in the military during specific periods in history, such as the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, and the Mexican-American War. These applications were a form of compensation offered by the government to veterans or their heirs in the form of land grants. And these offer key insights into ancestors' military service, providing personal details and land allocations as compensation for their wartime contributions. They provide a rich source for verifying military history, understanding familial connections, and contextualizing ancestors within historical events. And this is just a sample one that I found because I couldn't find the one for my many times great-grandfather, Charles Morgan. War diaries are also important. They are firsthand accounts written by military personnel during their service. These diaries may include daily observations, experiences on the battlefield, and personal reflections. War diaries provide a unique and often intimate perspective on the challenges and triumphs of military life. They contribute to a deeper understanding of an ancestor's experiences during specific conflicts and offer a more personal and nuanced view of their military service. Photographs, which of course we wouldn't have photographs until the Civil War, given when they started first being used. So military photographs capture moments in time and visually document military life. These may include portraits of individuals in uniform, group photos of units, or scenes from training and deployment. Photographs can provide context to an ancestor's military experience. Photographs offer a visual connection to the past, allowing genealogists to see what your ancestors actually looked like and gain insights into their military environment. Lastly, we have military maps, which illustrate geographical locations, troop movements, and strategic plans during specific campaigns or battles. These maps may range from tactical battlefield maps to broader strategic overviews. And maps help genealogists contextualize an ancestor's military service by understanding the areas where they were stationed, the routes they took, and the terrain they encountered. This geographical information can enhance the overall narrative of an ancestor's military history. And as we see here, I found a few different maps. One is of Gettysburg, and the bottom one is actually of the D-Day invasion in Normandy. So what information can you expect to find in military records? General information such as birth date and place, marriage date and place, death date, the wife's maiden name, the wife's birth date and place, the wife's death date, ages of all children 16 years of age and younger, and the place of residence. Additional information that can help you paint a fuller portrait of your ancestor include the physical description, occupation or occupations, the amount of their pension received either by the veteran or the widow, the rank, branch of service, company, and regiment, the battles that they fought in, pay stubs, roll calls, letters of commendation, promotion information, and details of injuries and death. So what records do we hold here at Local History and Genealogy? A little bit about the department. We started in the 1880s and became an official department in 1905 when the Syracuse Public Library moved into its Carnegie-funded library building here on Montgomery Street in Syracuse. We have over 40,000 volumes and are still growing. We have over 6,000 reels of microfilm and over 15,000 microfiche. The focus for our collection is New England, New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, with the greatest depth being focused on Syracuse, Onondaga County, and New York State. So the importance of military holdings here at Local History and Genealogy: we have comprehensive soldier records, and in the form of an extensive collection of military records providing comprehensive details about soldiers from the local region as well as elsewhere in the state and the Northeast. These records include service records, pension applications, correspondence, diaries, and other documents that offer a rich and detailed portrayal of their military experiences. We do have a diverse geographic coverage because it's not limited to local soldiers. Our collections extend to encompass military records from other states. This diversity allows researchers to trace the military service of ancestors who may have relocated or enlisted in other regions. And we have a one-of-a-kind database that on Civil War soldiers that was compiled in 1909. And the access to this database lists 11,783 soldiers who either lived in or enlisted from Onondaga County during the American Civil War. This resource streamlines the research process, allowing users to efficiently identify and explore the military history of their Civil War era ancestors. In terms of local historical content, we delve into the local history of military service. You can explore how individuals from our region contributed to significant historical events and learn about the impact of military service on the development of Onondaga County, particularly through our Onondaga Pioneer Index, which also includes veterans who helped settle this region through the bounty land warrant applications. LHG provides a supportive environment for collaborative research opportunities. You can connect with our staff, me and the other staff, and fellow genealogists to enhance your research journey and gain insights into the military past of your ancestors. By utilizing our military records, researchers actively contribute to the preservation and honoring of the military heritage of Onondaga County and the greater Central New York region. Each discovery adds to the collective memory of our veterans. So here's some of the information that I have. In terms of the wars covered, we have records relating to King Philip's War, King William's War, Queen Anne's War, the French and Indian War, then the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, the Civil War, the Spanish-American War, World Wars I and II, and the Korean War. We also do have newspaper clippings that deal with World War I and or that deal with additional conflicts. So some select titles and authors that I wanted to highlight from our collection. We have an index of Revolutionary War pension applications by the National Genealogical Society. We have the muster rolls of the New York State Volunteers from the New York State Adjutant General's Office. We have several volumes by Frederick Pfister regarding New York and the War of the Rebellion. And we have the online database, Onondaga County Civil War Participants. And also we have various New York State town clerks' records of citizens who fought in the Civil War. We have also got official registers, rosters, rolls, and reports for the French and Indian War, Revolutionary War, War of 1812, the American Civil War, the Spanish-American War, and World Wars I and II. We have the pension applications for the Revolutionary War, War of 1812, and the American Civil War, as well as bounty land warrant files for the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. We also have registers of the dead for the War of 1812, the American Civil War, and World War I, and titles related to prisoners of war for the Revolutionary War, War of 1812, American Civil War, the Spanish-American War, and World Wars I and II. In addition, there are titles that relate to the service of Africans, African Americans, and Indigenous peoples, including in the Revolutionary War. And we also have lineage societies records and periodicals, particularly for the Daughters of the American Revolution, the Sons of the American Revolution, and one I discovered that I didn't get in is the Grand Army of the Republic. So now we'll delve into a little bit of Fold3 and using it for military research. Fold3 provides convenient access to military records, including the stories, photos, and personal documents of the men and women who served. The records at Fold3 help you discover and share stories about these everyday heroes, forgotten soldiers, and the families that supported them. While you may begin your military search at other sites, such as Ancestry, Fold3 typically provides access to more detailed records. The largest single group of conflict records, over 202 million, relate to World War II, as by 1945, more than 12 million Americans served in the armed forces. This amounted to roughly 9% of the US population. Overview of records on Fold3. Conflicts covered include the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, Mexican-American and early Indian Wars, American Civil War, Spanish-American War, World Wars I and II, Korean and Vietnam Wars, recent wars, plus international records. They also hold non-military records that include documents from early American history, photo collections, state and town records, historical maps, naturalization records, city directories, newspapers, and more. You will also find collections relating to enslaved individuals and Native Americans. Sources that they have used include the U.S. National Archives and Records Administration, the Center for Research Libraries, Allen County Public Library, which has their own genealogy center, Harris County Archives, Cuyahoga County Archives, South Carolina Archives, Pennsylvania Archives, plus the UK National Archives. In searching records on Fold3, the search engine lets you search all their record collections quickly and efficiently. Begin by entering a keyword on the homepage. You'll notice that you type in your search term, you can select a keyword, name, or a place. In this case, I've chosen to search for my many times great-grandfather, Charles Morgan, and I choose to search that as a name. This filter will help you refine your results quickly. You may also see additional hints to guide you in narrowing your search. Oh, and I did put it in here that he's my 4 times great-grandfather, Charles Morgan. So I select name. In my initial search results, I get over 39,000 hits under the name Charles Morgan. I can choose to add a date or add a place, or I can filter by place or conflict or war. As he served in the U.S. Revolutionary War, I filter for those results, which drops the total to just over 4,000 hits. Note that Fold3 has added a filter labeled conflict war for the U.S. Revolutionary War in the search bar. The 4th hit is the one I want, as thanks to his headstone, I know that he served in Colonel Dayton's battalion. The results is a 3-page record from the company muster roll for Dayton's New Jersey battalion in the Revolutionary War. Among the details this record provides are that Charles Morgan was in camp at Ticonderoga from February 8th to November 23rd, 1776. The final page of the record, which dates from November 24th, 1776 to February 23rd, 1777, notes that Charles reenlisted with Lieutenant Galladay and was sent sick to Albany on January 12, 1777. There are options for saving these records, for saving or sharing the records that you find. You can save to Ancestry, and if you're logged into your Ancestry.com account, you can save it directly to that ancestor's profile and even add it to their life story on Ancestry. If you have a free Fold3 account, you can tag or annotate the record, or even create a memorial or add to a memorial if one's already been created. You can download or print the record. And lastly, you can share the record, either by sending the link or sharing it directly to Facebook or X, which is formerly known as Twitter. And now we will go on to sharing with Celeste. Celeste?
I'm sorry.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
So for this section, we're going to explore the military service through other online resources. And I'm also going to do an example with Daniel Allis, who is a local Civil War veteran here in Onondaga County. Okay, Kate. So when exploring military service, one thing to keep in mind is that a very small percentage of records are actually online. A lot of things you actually have to go to the offices or libraries or archives for this information. Some of the ways that you can start to learn about military service is through newspapers. Sometimes if you're researching an ancestor in an obituary, sometimes I've seen it in wedding announcements, engagement announcements, sometimes even promotions. It'll talk about military service for that particular person. That can be a starting point for you. And then from there, you can research more. Family Search also has quite a bit of information with military records. Cemetery records are another way that you can learn about a particular soldier or sailor. Also, special collections like local history, and there's other collections. In the example with Daniel Allis, I'll talk a little bit about special collections that you may not think of when doing your military research. There's also state collections. There's also the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, and national parks also have information on military service and battles. For this example, I'm going to talk a little bit about Daniel Allis, and this is Oakwood Cemetery, and this is the Civil War soldiers area. Okay, Kate. So quite a few years ago when I was in local history, I was doing some research and I came across this particular article, and it talks about a Civil War soldier who was refused burial at Oakwood, and it was back in 1898. And I wanted to do a little more research and to find out about this gentleman, Daniel Allis. So thus my research began. Okay, Kate. So I went to Fulton History. We also have a number of databases that are available with newspapers from local history that you can use. But I was successful in using the Fulton History for some additional information on Daniel Allis. Okay, Kate. To start off with, I just went to Ancestry and searched for Daniel Allis, and I came up with his information. Gave his age when he enlisted, and it also gave enlistment date and muster date, and it also gave a description of what type of rank and what his job was while he was in the military. Okay, Kate. So there's also more information that I found with Civil War soldiers that was on Ancestry. Again, it gives information on the regiment date and also his number. He was in the 12th Regiment, New York Infantry, and he actually was a musician and he was a drummer initially. Okay. So the Civil War records and profiles. Again, this is an Ancestry. It gives quite a bit of information there. Just to start off with, also talks about discharge with a disability. It gives dates and information like that that can be useful. Okay, Kate. So this is in 1890. There was a United States Census of Union veterans and widows. And in this document, I also was able to find Daniel. And this is actually from Family Search website. Okay, Kate. So there's also the Civil War Soldiers Indexed. Again, that was also available in Family Search. Okay, Kate. Later on, it looks like Daniel was at a national home for disabled soldiers, and this gives some information for him. Again, this was available through Family Search. Okay, Kate. And this also gives his military history and also his domestic history. So information about his marital status, that type of thing. Okay, Kate. All right, and again, some additional, this was all on Family Search. General remarks, also home history for Daniel. Okay, Kate. I was also able to find in the death index on Family Search a death date for him. So he passed away in March of 1898. Okay, Kate. There's also information that you can find with state records. This is one research database that I find helpful. It's the New York State Military Museum and Veterans Research Center. That'll have information about veterans, but then also about, again, battles and that type of thing. Okay, Kate. So this gives information about different New York infantry regiments. Okay, Kate. And again, this is the New York report. And in that, I was also able to find Daniel. Okay, Kate. So he is the very bottom. Okay. And it gives a little bit of information again about his age, when he enlisted. It gives information about his rank, also how long his service was, and a little bit of information about battles that he served and that type of thing, which is also interesting information. Okay, Kate. Syracuse University also has information on the Grand Army of the Republic, the route post, which is a post that Daniel was applying, that he wanted to be buried in at Oakwood Cemetery. So this is really like a finding guide, but it tells you that there are records at Syracuse University, which you could go and look at and learn more about the Grand Army of the Republic, the route post, and members, battles, that type of thing. So that's a special collection that, again, you might not think of, but it's another available resource. Okay, Kate. And this is, again, some more information about that. Okay, Kate. And it gives a little bit of information about the scope and what that collection has available for researchers. Okay, Kate. Again, this is an inventory of this particular collection, so it gives even more detailed information. Okay, Kate. Another resource that I was able to find when researching Daniel was Civil War census. So Oakwood Cemetery in Syracuse has a census of Civil War veterans that are buried there. And among them, I'm seeing, it's not the highlighted area that's highlighted on the website, so I apologize, but 2 up from the first alt is Daniel, and it gives information. So he is, in fact, buried in Oakwood Cemetery and is recognized as a Civil War soldier. Okay. When I go to find a grave, again, this also gives information, tells you where he is, gives you the plot in the section, and actually a picture of his actual gravestone. Okay, Kate. This is a newer resource that I wasn't familiar with until recently. A coworker that I used to work with posted information about this on his LinkedIn page. So it's Veterans Legacy Memorial Project. And this is really through the Veterans Administration. They're working to provide a database with veterans information. Okay, Kate. So when I search for Daniel, this is what I was able to find. So he is actually the first hit here. And it does recognize that he's at Oakwood Cemetery. So, okay, Kate. And that's a little information there. You can also share historical documents there, life moments, and that type of thing. Right now, there aren't any for Daniel, but that's something that family members can do, or researchers. Okay, Kate. The National Park Service also has Soldiers and Sailors database. And if you go in for the Civil War, you can find information about veterans who fought in that war. Okay, Kate. And in that particular website, I was able to find Daniel again, and it gives information there about his regiment for the New York Infantry. Okay, Kate. And one thing that this also does, again, is it gives information about the regiment. So it talks a little bit about the regiment and the battles and the service that this particular unit served during the Civil War. Okay, Kate. So again, military records, there's been conflicts and wars for many generations, and not everything is available online. Some things are available online, and there's lots of databases, websites, and other resources. But sometimes you need to actually go to the actual, like I said, depository, the library archives, that type of thing. I don't know if anyone has any questions at this point, or if you'd like to share a little bit of your own research with your ancestors and their military service.
I would.
Okay.
I'm Bonnie Kisselstein, and I'm local history part-time at the Baldwinsville Library, and we have an extensive collection of Battery B from the Civil War. It was formed in Baldwinsville. It's still a work in progress as far as in making it. It's still it's available, but it's still a work in progress as far as having things online. But we have an extensive collection of different folders on different soldiers and whatnot, and pays and all kinds of stuff. So if somebody wants to contact me, Kate can put it in her feedback, my email. The Baldwinsville Library.
Thank you. Molly, do you have a question or comment?
Yeah, I had a comment to make about the letters, the Civil War diaries, and also correspondence. There's some of that is available in various places. And when I was researching my Civil War ancestor, there was a list of some correspondence and diaries of people from his regiment on the New York State Military Museum site. That's a really good resource. And so I contacted the various repositories and I got copies of the letters. And they're really interesting also, the same with the widow's pension. We have trouble researching what women's history, but a lot of these folks were writing home to a wife or a mother or something like that. And there's often a lot of information in there about the life back home. And in the Civil War case, a lot of women were running farms. They were doing things that they had never done before. It was always the husband's job, and now he's away in the military. And they're saying, well, do what you think is best. And, here's my advice, but I'm not there. So, so it gives you a picture of what civilian life was like also during that time period. So it's definitely worth looking into those. And they do list them. I know they list them at that museum, the military museum site. There's resources at the bottom of each regimental history. And that's how I found the letters that I used. That's it.
To follow up on what Molly said, I know there's a lot of there's a lot of war institutes. I know there's a World War II Institute. I think there's actually 2 or 3 of them. They might be housed at universities, or they might be private concerns, but they also have lots of letters, diaries, that kind of thing. And I had I think about 200 letters from my father during World War II. I read them all. Didn't really have a place to store them. And I looked around and I donated them to a World War II institute in, I think it was in Tallahassee, Florida, at a university. And, they've all been cataloged, and revealed a lot of information about the movement during World War II, North Africa, coming up through Italy. My father was in for about 4 years, so he did kind of follow the Fifth Army. And, ones that I really wanted, I scanned, copies for myself or made copies. But I sent the entire collection to there. So, obviously some people might say, well, I'll throw them out. Don't throw them out. Donate them to, a local library or one of the institutes that does research in World War I, World War II, or any of the other wars.
Oh, that's great. Janine, you had a question?
First, it's a comment. So the Allen County Public Library, Fort Wayne, Indiana, will take your records as long as you have done the work of labeling and cataloging them and make them available via a Google search forever. So if you have stuff you want to donate and you want to make sure your people not even born yet can find it, I would suggest the Allen County Library would be a wonderful place to share your stuff. They will scan it and return it to you, and then you can donate it to somebody else. That's number one. Number two, if I were to go to the library, what's digitized and what do I have to go through? Like, well, check this book, or, maybe it's in that file or what have you. How much has actually been digitized?
We do have things that are digitized. Those would be available if you have a family search account in their library, because they digitized a lot of our holdings. There are things that you would need to come to the library for, but you could also email us and we'd be happy to look through and, email back a scan of the pages that you needed, provided that it wasn't the whole book, of course. But we'd be happy to do help work with you and help you with your research. We do have that. And let's see, we had a comment in the chat from Leanne Sievers. Something to add to the drafts of World War I and World War II. When I've been searching newspapers for more information, I have come across large articles that break up the draftees into like 4 classes, depending on their age, work, family life, etc. Their draft class would often determine whether or not they would actually be drafted. This also gives some more insight on their life. Oh, that's very good to know. Thank you for that, Leanne.
I have a question
Sure, Jackie.
of a guy fought in the War of 1812, went up to Sackett's Harbor and fought, all of 15 years old.
Oh my.
Fold3 has pension records, so that's squared away and everything, which also connects him to the son-in-law, which is my line. But I'm wondering, one, if there's possibility there's something else there, a roster list maybe, something that alluded to his family. I mean, at the age of 15, well, nowadays you wouldn't be allowed in, but would his father have had to sign for anything?
Oh, okay. Yes, that would definitely be something we could take a look at.
Okay, I'll email you after the webinar
Yes.
then.
Kate alluded to it, but I just want to reemphasize, especially for Civil War and Revolutionary War records, when you go into the pension files, very often they had to prove when they were born, they had to prove marriage. So there sometimes is primary documents within the records, proving marriage, birth of children, especially if it involved a widow receiving some kind of a pension.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.